and go for a typical checkmate using two rooks against the king. So what we're going to be learning there are two things. First and foremost, how to use the pieces, but also how to use the pieces together, the ability to use the pieces together and using these two pieces together to checkmate the opponent's king. I'm going to explain what checkmate is, what check and checkmate is. Right, no problem. So, but first let's start with the movement of the rook. So now you'll understand that there are different pieces on the board. So the pieces that sit on the corners are called the rooks. Sometimes they're called castles as well, but we generally use the term rook. And so the rook has got 5 points. Now each piece in chess has got a certain number of points. These points, they show how strong the piece is, okay? And they help you because, as you are playing, there will come situations where you can trade. You can trade your one piece for your opponent's piece. So it helps when you know who's benefiting from the trade, right? And sometimes you can, it's called to sacrifice a piece, sacrificing material. You can allow for a trade to happen, which is actually not beneficial for you from the point of view, but you find that your position becomes better. So then you sacrifice the material and so on, So, right, let's start with the rook. Now the rook moves on basically straight lines, let's say horizontals and verticals, but in chess we call these files and ranks, okay? So as you see, exactly, so files and ranks. Now the files are the ones that, are shown with the alphabets. For an example, the rook is on the A file. So the whole file here, that is the A file. And then we've got the B file, the C file, all the way up to the H file. And then we've got 8 ranks as well. So this is So this is the first rank. This is the second rank, all the way to the 8th rank. So now that's when you get to understand better the phrase, the rank and file. Right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. So now how the rook will move, it will move either on the file or on the rank, and you will choose. For an example, let us for a moment say you wanted to capture this pawn. Now the pawn is on 2 lines. It's on the C file and it's also on the 6th rank. Yes. Right? So it's important to understand that that pawn is on those 2 lines. Yes. And you can choose. Should I move my rook to the C file? That means you would move your rook to C1, and then you will be able to capture the pawn on C6, the next move. Remember, that would be 2 moves. You would play, your opponent would play, and then you would capture the pawn.
Can I ask?
Yes, of course. Of course.
So now I see that my castle, I think I like the word castle better than rook.
We'll go for castle.
I see that, it moved to C.
C1.
And then C1, right?
Right.
And does it just automatically now jump to C6? Or is there a rule that applies? Because, I wouldn't have expected that it would just jump 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll say blocks for now. But,
exactly. I understand your question exactly. So the castle or rook is able to move as long as it is open. So for an example, there is no piece on any of those squares, right? It's wide open. So the rook can move and land on any of those squares in one go. Right? As well as these squares. The rook can move also on any of those squares and land on any of those squares in one go. But you're not allowed
pieces.
Exactly. As long as you're not jumping over other pieces, and you're not allowed to change direction. So what I mean by that is, imagine you moved from A1 to A6.
Yes.
You would then stop there, and your opponent, it will be your opponent's turn to play. Right? So your opponent could do whatever they want to do. And then afterwards, you would then capture the pawn on C6. Right? So you are to try to capture these 2 pawns.
Got it. Thank you for that
Perfect.
Yes.
Now try to capture these 2 pawns, please. Maybe starting with the one on G7. Where will you move your rook to? It will have to be in 2 moves.
2 moves.
Yeah.
Ooh. You know the thing about chess, it's very intimidating. All of a sudden, my brain just froze.
Don't be intimidated. So you can move on the vertical line. It is open, or the horizontal. You should imagine that the castle wants to shoot the pawn. So you need to aim. You see what I mean? You need to be on the same line so that you take aim of the pawn, and then you can shoot the pawn or capture it.
And you said this is only in 2 moves, right?
Yeah. So you'll have to move to 1 square, and then the next time you then move and capture the pawn.
Let me just look at this properly so that I make. So I would then move my rook, my castle to. Can I say 6? Is it 6G?
Exactly. It's G6, right?
Yeah, G6.
Perfect. So rook G6 is perfect.
And then go up to 7. Go up to
perfect. G7.
Yeah, G7, yes.
Perfect. That is the way to do it. Now you are to capture this pawn. Oh, there's no reason to be intimidated. You are good at this. So now you are trying to capture the pawn on F2. How are you going to do that? I'll
just go. So when you mentioned something earlier, you said that without changing direction. So does this mean you can only go up? Can I not go back down again?
Exactly. What I meant is that you cannot go down and then left. Right? You can only go in one. That means right. You can either go down, you can go left, you can go right, or you can go up. You can't change right.
All right. So I'll just automatically just go back down to 2, as in G2.
Brilliant.
And then
G2 is perfect.
I'll go down to G2 and then go into the pawns block in F.
Perfect. Rook takes F2. There you go.
Yes.
Brilliant. So now I'm going to give you another one where you are going to have to kind of navigate. That means you will have to do the same thing. However, there will be some obstacles in your way. So do you see the new position?
All right. Okay. I can see the new position in my castle. Yes.
Right. You are trying to capture the pawn on A7. How will you do that?
All right. So let's see. On A7, I guess the most logical thing to do, because in my mind right now, I don't know what to do with the one on A2. So I'll move. Yeah, I'll move to the side. Go to B1, and but then I only can do how many moves? 2 moves, right?
Well, no. You can do it in 3 moves. Rook B1 is perfect. I will move.
Am I doing only 2 moves?
3. So you have 2 more.
3 moves. Okay. So then shoot up to B7.
Brilliant. Rook B7.
And then
I will notice that my king can only move 1 square in any direction. However, here's an important part. Now you are learning how the king moves as well. Yes. I am not allowed to move to a square that is attacked by the opponent. Okay?
You're not allowed to move to a square that is attacked by the opponent. So in this case,
I cannot go there.
Okay.
I can't move there. I cannot move there.
All right.
And I cannot move there. It's not possible.
Okay.
So the program, if you see, if I hold my king, it tells me I'm only allowed to move either to E8 or to G8.
All right.
You see, so I'll move, let's say, to E8. And now what will you play?
Then I'll take this pawn in A7.
Brilliant. Rook takes A7. Very good. So you have complete understanding of the rules, and it was good that you understood that you could not jump over the obstacle, your pawn. Yeah. You had to move sideways, up, and capture. Very good. So you've got, you are able to recognize the whole board and so on. So now what you're going to do, we'll do now to today's challenge. Okay. Now today's challenge, don't be intimidated. It's going to actually be quite easy.
All right.
And what it's going to be, we are now going to look at how to checkmate with 2 rooks. Now, how this would happen is the board shared. Are you able to see the board?
Yes.
Brilliant. Now, how this would happen, imagine you started with all the pieces, but now you've captured all your opponent's pieces, and now you are ahead. You have 2 rooks ahead, and your opponent only has the king remaining.
Yes.
Right. So now you've got altogether 10 points because each rook is worth 5 points. You are expecting to win this game, but now you need to checkmate the king. Now, checkmate, there are 2 words in that. There's check, and then the other word is mating the king, checkmate, right? Okay. What it means is simple, is that check means that the king is under attack. So whenever the king is in danger, that's when a chess player will say check. You know, if you hear 2 people playing, you'll hear someone saying check, 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 checkmate, right? Now, check means be careful, your king is in danger. Okay. Right? Yes. I'm not allowed to capture your king. However, I want to create a situation where your king will be attacked, but you are not able to do anything about it. And then you lose the game. That is called checkmate.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You know, we often hear this word. I often hear this word in movies, right? But I've never known the real meaning behind it. So personally today, I can't wait to say checkmate, like how movie stars would actually say it. Exactly. So checkmate basically would mean, you know, a plan has been carried out and the opponent cannot do anything about it. So you hear it in movies. If something happens and someone says checkmate, exactly.
You know,
checkmate.
It's over. You know,
and they say that it's over. Exactly.
It's over. So now what you're going to do though, you're going to have to be careful because the king, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do it first. Then the black king would want to capture one of the rooks, but the king only can move at 1 square at a time. So you have all the time in the world, right? Yes. So the method that we use a very logical method. You want to first, you see the king can move to 8 different squares. For example, when the king is here, it can move there, there, there. Okay, it cannot move there because this king is there. Okay. Right? This king also controls these 3 squares, but normally it would be able to move there, there, and there. So it would be 8 squares that the king can move to, right? That's a lot of squares. And we cannot checkmate the king when it can move to so many squares. So we want to limit its movement. We want to force this king to the edge of the board. Okay. Right. I see. So when the king is at the edge of the board, it cannot move backwards anymore. Then we're able to checkmate the king. So how we do that? Number one, sure.
Sorry to interrupt you. So the way you've actually laid out these arrows now, what I'd like to understand, what you're telling me is that because the black king can only move, it seems like it can only move to the squares above it, so to speak, not below. Well,
you are, but the reason for that is because this king is there. Remember, this king controls these 3 squares. Okay. As you can see, when I hold the program, it tells me I can only go here or there. Okay. Okay. Right? I cannot go up because the other king is there. Yes. Okay. Makes sense. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut the space of the king in front, so that we create some kind of a barrier, and then we're going to push the king. So both rooks are going to work together. So the first rook will go there to cut the squares, right? Meaning the king is not able to come closer. Right? Okay. Then it's the opponent's turn. Let's imagine the opponent moves to the side. Now this rook is not doing anything. This one is doing something, but this one is not doing anything. That is why we're going to attack the king with the rook. So we would play rook a3, and that would be check. That's check. The king is attacked. Okay. So the king cleverly moves to g4 because the king anticipates that we would want to give check with the rook here, but that would be a mistake. It's an error because the king can capture the rook. Oh, okay. Because the king does have power over the rook, right? Well, the king can capture any piece except the other king, right? Okay. Right. So now it means we should not move over here with the rook. We should move as far away as possible with the rook, but to a square where we're able to use this line. So we don't put the rook here because then we can't use both of them at the same time. So here, right? Yeah. Okay. So the king moves closer. Now we don't use this rook because this rook has actually created a barrier on the 3rd rank, right? We use the other one. We move up with the other one. Say check, The king must move. Notice that the king cannot move down now. Why? Because this rook is controlling the squares.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? And the king cannot move sideways. The king cannot move sideways because this rook is controlling the squares. So the only squares left for the king are these three.
Wow. Okay.
You see? Right. So let's say the king moves over to e5. Now you use the other rook. You say check. The king must move up. Check. Okay. This is also called the bicycle method. It's as if you're paddling, right? Right? It's called the bicycle method because if you look at the two rooks, it's as if you're paddling, right? Moving the king back. Right. Now, once the king moves to c7, we need to be careful again. The king is too close. Right. And the king wants to capture this rook. Right? So we move as far away as possible, still cutting the sixth rank though. So we move all the way there. The king moves to b7, then we move our other rook also to the side. Okay? We must move as far away from the king as possible. Now the king moves there. Now we give check. Now the king cannot come out. It must go back. And that is checkmate. Game is over.
Okay.
Right?
This, even as I'm sitting here, I feel like, wow, I can feel my adrenaline pumping because it's all about strategy. Right? Okay.
Yes. Now, what we're going to try, you are going to try and move the white pieces, but I will guide you. I will guide you. Don't worry, I'll guide you. The first thing you need to cut the king off, create a barrier so you can choose which rook you want to use.
Okay, so I'll start with the rook on my right end, 1h.
Okay, move it one up, right?
Yes, I'll move it one up. My heart is already beating fast. And then
now it's my turn. Okay.
Okay.
I will move here.
Right. So then which means I will, but if I move, okay, I'm just trying to, if I move to a4, let me just see what access the black king has. This black king has got 1, 2, 3. So if I move to a4, I'll still be safe, right? I won't be captured by the king because
no, you won't. If you move to a4, you won't be captured. But remember, you are trying to force the king back.
Okay.
Right. So you've cut this rank already. You need to now to access this one. So you take control of the second rank, you take control of the third rank, you take control of the fourth rank as you're pushing the king backwards. Right.
So then I'll take it to a3.
Brilliant. That's a brilliant move. Rook a3, check. Now I cannot go back. So I'm going to have to go to c4. Yeah, you're still far, like I still cannot capture you. I'm still far away from your rook. Okay.
I'll go to my rook on 2h.
Right.
And take it to I'll take it to 5h.
Okay.
No, is 5h? No, I'll take it to 4h.
Brilliant. Rook h4 is brilliant. Now you've taken control of the fourth rank. Notice that the king is now on the fifth rank. It started on the third. You've controlled all the ranks. Now it's on the fifth rank. Now you have to be careful because you want to use your rook on a3, but if you move over here, you're too close. I will capture your rook.
You can see that, yes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm trying to think, what do I do here?
You need to move your rook as far away from the king as possible to give yourself enough time to attack the king.
Yes.
Right. So best you move your a rook, your a rook, but where do you move it to?
That's what I'm thinking. Where do I move it to? Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Let me just sorry. Where do I move my a rook to?
Let's suggest g3. Maybe g3, so that is far away.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So because I could see that a6 or 6a is not.
Is too close to the king.
Exactly.
Exactly. If you go there, the king would capture your rook.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll follow your suggestion and take it to
g3, right?
g3. Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. So now I'm going to go here. Now you're on your way.
Right. So I'll then take my rook on 4h and put it on 5h.
But be careful of your barriers, right? So which rook is controlling the barrier? Which one is making sure that the king cannot come closer? Is it this one or is it that one? That's the important key.
Okay, I may have missed that. So, okay. I'm not sure what that is, but I
No,
can
no,
guess.
there it is. Look, that rook is controlling those squares,
All
making
right.
sure the king cannot come closer, right?
Okay.
So you'd have to use the other rook. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. So that means I'll then take the rook on g3 and have it over to, what's this? Sorry. Yes, g5.
Yes. Brilliant.
G5.
Rook
Okay.
g5 check is brilliant.
Okay.
I'm going to play king c6.
All right. Then I'll take, so let's just see. Can I take the same rook again on g5 and then?
Well, you'd have to think now who, you see that the roles always change.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So after the
I
check, right.
Okay. So then I'll take the rook on 4h.
Exactly.
Put it on 6h.
Exactly. You see, that is why this is called the bicycle method. You know,
Okay.
you're pedaling left, right, like that.
Makes
so
sense.
Exactly. So I move there.
And then I'll take my rook on g5 and then put it on g7.
Okay. Check. And now I'm going to play king d8. You're almost there.
And then I'll take my rook on 6h and put it on 8h. Checkmate.
Bravo. I'll tell you something. I will tell you something, right?
Yes.
I will tell you something. I actually have not seen someone get that and checkmate so quickly. you have incredible potential. So now you do. You have incredible potential, and yeah. So that is how you checkmate the king. But I must admit, you actually special. You are able to see the space because it's not that easy. It takes a while, and some people actually have to develop that. You know, some people when they are chasing the king, right? They sort of lose direction. They're not sure where they're chasing the king. You know, all of a sudden, the king will go out and so on. But you were able to control the space. And
thank you.
Yeah, I think look, if you took more lessons, very soon you'd be South African champion. So I think we should stop.
I like this. I like this. It's actually very fulfilling. It's a fulfilling game because it actually really does mentally challenge you, because what you want to do is you don't want to lose sight of your strategy. So that's the part that I'm enjoying more than anything, but I'm still nervous. I don't know why. Chess, like I've always said, it's that sports or that's leisurely thing that you just feel it's for specialized people. But I see I have potential to be specialized as well.
No, you already are. So as you see, that is what it is exactly. But you can imagine, of course, when you're playing someone, they will be putting obstacles in your way. They'll be, from the word go, they'll be trying. But it's actually, it's very entertaining, and you really are doing a lot of strategy, and visualization. Okay, now remember that now this would be what we'd call the end game. Okay, here you already have beaten your opponent, so to speak. You have taken their whole army and so on. But before that, there's a whole fight that goes on. But the most important part is to be able to checkmate the opponent. So yeah, big up to you.
Thank you.
You are able to checkmate. Bravo. So yeah, brilliant. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Watu. I really did it. I really do enjoy this. It is highly, I didn't think that chess could be this entertaining, but it's actually quite entertaining. The suspense, I think for me, it's the suspense that I'm enjoying, because I'm like, wow, what do I do next? What's going on?
Brilliant. No, thank you very much for being a brilliant student today. And yeah, that went very well.
It was absolutely enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I do look forward to maybe another one at some point when you invite me, but it was absolutely great.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I'm happy that you could participate, and I hope that everyone else enjoyed it as well.
Thank you so much, Watu. I appreciate it. You also made it easy for me to learn. Thank you so much for everything.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Noluthando. Have a fantastic day further.
Hands down. Thank you so much. Have a good day too. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.